I'm here with Mike. How do you pronounce your last name?
McShaffry.
And can you introduce yourself to all the viewers who are not familiar with you?
Okay, sure. My name is Mike, and I've been a game developer since 1990. I used to work on the Ultima series at Origin Systems. Some of the titles I've done in the past include Thief Deadly Shadows, Ghostbusters the video game, Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 for the Wii, and I just recently co-authored a book with my friend David Graham, and it's called Game Coding Complete 4th edition.
And when did you start development of the book that you authored?
2003 was actually the first edition, and then it's been refreshed 4 times since then. We started work on the 4th edition back in August of last year.
And how has games evolved since you started developing games?
You mean since the beginning?
Yeah.
It's been, well, I first started developing in 1990, so that's when games were still shipping on 5 1/4-inch floppy drives. I don't know, how long do you have? I think one thing I will say, which is very interesting, is that the recent explosion of mobile games development is really reminding me of exactly the same kinds of game development that I started with back in 1990. Simple, wonderful arcade and adventure games. And what I expect to happen, if we look into the future, is exactly the same thing that happened to them, which is they're going to get bigger, they're going to get cooler, processors are going to get more amazing, and hopefully we'll be able to start charging more for these games and more people will buy them.
And hopefully the devices will shrink down to the size of who knows.
Who knows?
And what type of processes did you use to create your games over the years?
Probably the most relevant process was just amazing dedication and a lot of hard work. That probably lends more to anything else. You know, just the ability for you to create a really good vision for your game, you know, from the very first day. Test it on a couple of friends before you really start finishing the game. Make sure your game is fun before it gets into all the expensive bits, like all of your levels and all of your characters, and make sure you have one level and one character that's really, really fun and a game mechanic that really works. And then only after you've established that and you're really sure that that's the way to go, then you fill the game with content and make it wonderful. That's what I would advise.
And how many levels have you filled up in one game?
I'm sorry?
How many levels have you filled up in one game before?
Oh, you mean the biggest game?
Yeah.
That's tough. I think the biggest game that I ever worked on was really Ultima Online. So it doesn't really have levels, so to speak. It has worlds, shards, and it's been in constant place for 11 years. So I don't know, I guess that's the biggest one.
So how has the graphics for that game have evolved?
I actually haven't seen it very recently, but when it started, it was just 3D sprites. It was very, very simple.
I see. And can you show us the book?
Sure. Hold on. Let me go get a copy.
Okay.
So here it is. This is the book. Right? It has, some 900 pages. It has little elements like this. This is like one of my favorite parts. This is, Mike's Tales from the Pixel Mines, and Rez over there has his Tales from the Pixel Mines as well. These are just stories of game development that we both experienced that we intersperse all the way through the book. And as you can also see, there's tons and tons and tons of source code. But the source code is also available for download online, or at least it will be this weekend. Rez and I are still cleaning up a few more things. So that's it. And the book is a shallow dive into many, many, many different areas of game programming, like networking, tools development, AI, 3D graphics, user interface, resource caching, tons and tons and tons of good stuff. If you're looking at starting into game programming and wondering what it's all about, this is a great book.
And how many games have ended up as Vaporware?
How many games have ended up as Vaporware?
In your hands.
Oh, in my hands?
Or within your team's hands?
I would say, since I started, 2.
2?
Yeah. So I've only had maybe 2, maybe 3. Depends on how you count. 2, maybe 3 projects got canceled on teams that I was working on.
So were they ever announced?
No, they weren't.
Okay, so it's just a bunch of number codes, correct?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go how some people type,
And
we'll just filter through and see.
tell us about your co-author.
Well, actually, maybe you should ask him about himself. But he was a reader of my first edition, and was a very prolific poster on my website. Ever since then. And he actually wrote one chapter of the third edition. But when I wanted to do the fourth edition, I asked, my friend Rez if he would be interested in helping out again, and he said sure, but only if you let me do half the book this time instead of just one chapter. I'm like, let's do it. So that's how that happened.
So your book got completed a little faster than usual?
Yes, I would definitely say so. We worked on it from August of last year to January.
So what's the difference between the fourth and the third edition?
It has almost every single chapter has been refreshed. Okay. There are some new chapters. There's an entire chapter on 3D shaders. There's a new chapter on the actor component model, which we're very proud of. We think that adds an awful lot to the book and the technology the book is surrounded. And many chapters got completely rewritten, and updated. The Lure chapter was completely rewritten. The C# editor chapter was completely rewritten. So, lots and lots of updates. I mean, if you actually read the third edition and have the third edition, you'll still enjoy reading the fourth.
Thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.
I'm Rez, and it looks like Mike is just finishing up.